There's someone in this boat, a new neighbor moves in, and suddenly the envy of the block turns into an eyesore. Weeds growing waist high, abandoned cars in the yard. Cities and HOAs try to force people to clean up, but what happens when the homeowner just won't?
Because the city is a fucking bunch of liars?
Is it a homeowner's right to do with their yard as they please? It's their property, after all. Well, tonight, Jace Larson takes a 360-degree view of this story, letting you decide what should happen.
Imagine this being your neighbor. Or what about this? What happens when your neighbor refuses to clean it up?
This is a wonderful, wonderful neighborhood.
These code violations give you an indication of what neighbors here on Milwaukee Street in Bonnie Brae have been through.
Oh, wow, that's not good.
Yeah, so it's just, it's rotting. Everything's rotting. It's been going on for 7 years.
7 years?
7 years.
Kathleen Williams lives right next to the vacant home that is now the talk of the street. The owner refuses to respond to anyone, and Kathleen's view,
the gutters have all come down,
is that all this affects her property value.
Yeah, we had a pack of coyotes. And,
that lived there?
That lived there.
In the back?
In the back, yeah. And raccoons. And
if I wanted to sell my house, which thank goodness I don't need to, but I think I'd lose a lot of money.
The city has ticketed this homeowner 11 times in just the past 2 years. Every time the grass gets long or the backyard becomes a forest, the city comes out to clean up and mow. And each time they send a bill to owner Tony Morrison's Greenwood Village post office box.
I think we're around $9,000.
$9,000. Will that ever be paid?
We have a third party that works on trying to get that money.
Driving around Denver, you might stumble on this gem over on Yosemite. The city ticketed this guy 8 times, even tried to take him to court. When he didn't show up, police arrested him. But the property hasn't changed. There's also this house where neighbors say there's a junk pile in the back. All of these homes are among the most ticketed in Denver. We also found properties elsewhere in the metro area. Believing the city should take care of the problem and force homeowners to clean up or else might be one perspective.
I mean, would you want to live next to either one of these houses?
No.
But the city can't and doesn't want to take over the properties itself.
I mean, it can be frustrating for us, too.
City policy in Denver says if workers can fix the problem by mowing or cleaning up branches, well, that's what workers do, even if they have to do the same thing over and over again.
Can you guys go in and board up a house?
We can board up a house if there is imminent danger to the public.
Broken windows?
Right, and on vacant property.
If we'll smash the windows, then the city can board it up and condemn it. But until we do, and we just can't do that. We're not those kind of people. We joke about it a lot. Everybody on this block jokes about it, but no one does it.
To these neighbors, it doesn't appear as though the city's doing enough fast enough.
I encourage the neighbors to call. We can walk them through what we are doing on the back end.
But they have over and over again. Like I mentioned, it seems like the city isn't doing anything more other than mowing the yard in one case.
And assessing fines.
That aren't paid. The homeowner is not having to pay anything.
Somebody at some point will have to pay for what the city has done for the property.
It's easy to judge these homeowners, but while out at the house on Ash Street,
because the city is a fucking bunch of liars?
We heard another point of view from Rich, who lives in the van, and Russ Twyman, who owns the house.
We don't bother anybody else, and I try not to tell other people how to live, and I don't like people telling me how to live. I specifically picked a place that didn't have a homeowners association because I didn't want anybody else dictating my lifestyle.
Russ Twyman, who has a full-time job working at a cannery, says he prefers natural plants over green grass to save water and his money.
And they're complaining.
He also says he keeps most of this hidden in the back of his house.
The city says it's going to come give you another fine, possibly take you to court. Is that worth it?
I think so. I mean, I think people should be able to live the way they want to live.
You don't have any plans to clean it up?
Not really at this point. I don't really complain about the things that go on in other people's houses, and I would want the same courtesy.
Over in Bonnie Brae, they had to turn to some unorthodox problem solving. Neighbors planted trees in the vacant house's front yard.
this could go on for 20 years. So our hope is that these maples will grow fast, and they're pretty fast growers, and that we can hide it.
When the city fines people and they don't pay, the city doesn't get its money until that home is sold. In many cases, whomever buys the home has to pay the city back. It's not necessarily the person who caused the fines. What do you think of all of this? Do you like hearing different perspectives, even if you don't agree with them all? We're continuing this conversation on Denver 7's Facebook page. And if you have photos of a messy yard, we'd love to see them. Just email us at 360@kmgh.com.